Hey guys, today we're taking a look at the Panther from the original Japanese release. This is the first version of the Zoid, long before the Zoids graphics reissue, and it was already one of the most sought after Zoids 20 years ago when I did most of my collecting, so I'm super grateful to my longtime internet friend and #1 patron Major Kong for giving me this one. Anyway, we're going to unbox the kit and compare it to some other stuff, and since this is a vintage model, I also built it on camera, and let's just say there were some problems. You'll see what I mean. But let's get this dog and pony show started here.
Robo Shop.
All right, let's take a look at this box first. We have, of course, first of all, this absolutely wonderful, gorgeous, beautiful, awesome 1980s box art here with, just a photo and this desert diorama here in the back. It says Sea Panther, hermit crab type. Don't know what this is. I'll see if I can get it translated afterwards. Old school Tomy logo. The old school Zoids logo, also a lot of dust. I thought I wiped this off before I started filming, sorry. Here on the top we have the same picture again, the Zoids designation, EMZ31. On the bottom also the number 31, the Zoids logo. This says Zoids, the rest of it I'm gonna get Google translated afterwards. On the back we have this artwork of the Sea Panther firing at a double sorter, also a variegator in the back here, and these alternate sort of build versions that were always depicted on these boxes, which I've always wondered, if they're just meant to be sort of part of the fiction or if they actually wanted to inspire kit bashing, but either way they're awesome. Same thing on the side as on the top, and here the logo again. So that's all we've got to look at here, and that means we're going to crack this baby open. I'll be very careful here with this tape that's probably been on here for 40 years. Let's open this here, preferably without ripping it. Here are the parts and the instructions, and also gravity in full effect. Let's take a look at the instructions first. We have, hold on, one of these little promotional leaflets, the stickers. Stickers look to be in good condition. I'm probably going to apply some of these. Let's open this up. Here on the front, I don't know what this D-Day Return of Zanibus. I don't remember seeing that before. Something from the battle story, I'm sure. We've got, this is some sort of photo manip. Something's weird about the angle here. But anyway, we have a Dimetrodon and what looks to be the unfortunately named Wardick, I think, coming out of this hangar thing or some sort of landing craft. Here we have a whole bunch of original release goodness, of course, Dimetrodon, or is it Dimetrodon? I think it's Dimetrodon. Get your dinosaur names right, Space Hamster. Wardick, Black Rhymos, Double Sorter, Sea Panther, and a whole lot of earlier release Zoids. And here we have one of these DX base kits and additional parts kits. I don't have these, but I have one of the smaller ones, and I have one of these that I might actually do a review on soon. So that's the promotional leaflet. Here are the instructions, which fold up like so. As usual, you can see, all the new parts in each step are colored in red. Parts list here. Very few steps because this is old school goodness, so it's a very simple build. And let's look at the parts, right? That's what you guys want to see, not a bunch of paper. So open this up. We remove the parts from the bag. Here we have the motor. Let's, as usual, test this first. And of course, still works like it just came out of the factory yesterday. Gotta love it, man. Now, while this is running out, I'll put it over here. Here we have the cockpit, the caps, and everything. I didn't need to cut this open, it's taped shut here, but oh well. Okay, anyway, here we go. Cockpit. Standard Zenibus clamshell style cockpit, of course, but it is red as opposed to the usual silver. The caps are this somewhat unusual, very cool gray, almost blue color. Silver Pilot, nothing unusual about this dude. And the canopy, the clear canopy part. Now here we have, first of all, the armor halves here, tons and tons of detail. Molding looks very sharp. I'm always kind of amazed by how well this stuff is molded for when it came out, and just the amount of detail. Of course, these parts usually also have a ton of mold lines, and sometimes they have like mismatched mold halves that you can see like on the Red Horn's legs. But for the most part, the quality is, yeah, for what this was and how it was intended for kids and how cheap it was at the time, I'm always amazed. This red tone, I think, is different from the other red and silver Zoids of the era. We're going to do some color comparisons later. This is this front cannon that is also actually the Zoid's face. These are the internal frame parts, of course, that hold the motor, and the BFG that goes on the back. Here we have the legs and the claws. And finally, a bunch of gears here, mechanical stuff. This goes on the top, I think. We'll find out later. And a couple more external parts. And I think this is standard Zenibus silver, but the red is different. Again, though, actually, in more or less in conclusion of this unboxing, which of course is pretty quick because there's not that much to look at, I'm going to get these parts off the sprues now, and then I'm going to build this kit on camera. And once that's done, we'll put it in the photo booth and do some color comparisons and check it out in action as well. And then we'll find out what the deal is with this red here. Alrighty, let's get started here. We need the motor first, and then we need these two, which we assemble like thus. Make sure I don't put the motor in backwards. Yep, like that. And now all of the mechanical stuff that actually makes this thing run. So first of all, this is a little unclear in the instructions, but this piece goes here. And then number 4, the missile launcher, goes on top here. We put on the face slash, it's actually not a weapon, yeah. But anyway, it goes here, as I just realized that I haven't really been doing this center frame. Sorry about that, guys. And finally the wheels, which go here and on the opposite side. And this doesn't have a flat spot, it's just held together by friction. And here we go. Now, there's 2 of these, but they are identical because they have the same parts number. And on an 80s Zoids kit, that means we can actually trust them to be identical. So this goes on like this, and then we need this claw number 9, which actually has the number 9 molded into it. It's another thing I really like about these old kits. Hold on. Goes here and then connects to this, oops, which is a little hard to do, especially since I'm trying to do it on camera. Here you go. And I guess this is just gonna rock up and down. Hold on, rubber caps. Just gonna take all of them off the sprue here because I will probably need all 6 of them. Let's make that 4 just in case. Whoops, okay, here we go. So we attach this with a rubber cap. And I guess this is gonna either move back and forth or, yeah, it's gonna move back and forth a bit to drive the movement of these claws. So the second one goes here, upside down, like so. And we attach this claw. This should work a bit better because it's now lined up correctly. Attach it with a cap here. All right, and now the first pair of legs. And now it says in the instructions this is 11 and 12. This is 12. This is 16. This is 11. Because you see, all these parts have the parts number molded into them. It's just a thing that I think they've started doing again, not consistently, but at least to some degree with, see, now I have to check again, 12. With the Zoids Wild kits, it used to just be par for the course. Like every part on a Zoids kit had the part number molded into it, which made them really easy to navigate. And if it was the first version of a particular design, you'll see that when I do a Garius review, which I actually will do eventually, because I also have an original release Garius that we can look at. They're also numbered in the sequence that you put them on, which is actually also the case here, because we just did 11 and 12. And now we are doing 13 and 14. 13 is not this. No, it is this. And it goes here. And you see this is part of this lever mechanism that now when the motor spins, you can see actually drives the entire mechanism that moves these legs. Now I need 14, which is this one. Goes on here. And I do in fact need the rest of the caps. This goes on here. And then on this side, of course, we do the same thing, and the numbering continues as you would expect to, with 15 right here. 16 goes on here. And we hold that in place with a cap. And we're golden. That is one naked hermit crab without a cockpit, armor, or anything else. Now, speaking of the cockpit, we put the clear part here. It's kind of a shame that this is red. I mean, they're all red, but it doesn't really pop against the red of the actual shell here, of course. Now, if you know anything about me, I don't think I've mentioned this enough times, so I'll mention it again. I am not putting in the pilot. The instructions are telling me to put the pilot in right now, but you don't put a pilot into a half-finished Zoid. That doesn't make sense. Why would you be piloting it if it's still in the factory? Problem, I wasn't supposed to put these on yet. You know, I was wondering, because you can see, maybe if I hold this close enough to the camera, this doesn't really seat properly because this peg is longer. Because I made a mistake. Because you put on the armor first. See, and then the cap goes on this to hold it in place, if I could actually use the correct armor piece here. This goes here, like so. Come on. Now let's see if I can still get this on. Maybe I have to take it back off. Actually, that should still work. No, it doesn't. La-di-da. And it all falls apart on me. I think I'm going to leave this all in. You're just going to see an unedited, an unedited version of me totally fumbling this. Okay, let's get this leg on. So we kind of have to hold them in place so they don't fall off. Now what I was looking at before is, see, this goes on here. To see exactly where this is supposed to hook in, like that. Right, and then we have to hold this in such a way that the legs don't fall off, and boom. Okay, now we got it. And now you can see the cap actually goes on this peg now, also holding this armor in place. And now the length of the peg is correct, because, you know, I'm assembling it correctly. Also turns out I actually could have put this on after the fact, because otherwise it wouldn't have fallen off just now. Okay, let's get this on. And then I think the part that is too intellectually challenging for me is done. Okay. Yeah, I am leaving all this in. Now, it should be possible to move this all the way forward, but it's not, or is it? So here's what happened, folks. The thing with the caps and the legs, that was me being an idiot, but the problem I just had now is that's actually a parts fit problem. You see, it's assembled correctly now, and what the Zoid is supposed to do is that you can slide this backwards to reveal the beer can launcher here, and then slide it back forward over the cockpit, and then it's supposed to stay in place, right? And now the problem was that the peg that this sits on vertically was too thick, and so I couldn't get it all the way down. And when I just put it together, I just pushed it down as far as it would go and figured, you know, that's where it belongs, because usually, as I said in the unboxing, the parts fit on these kits is really good. Well, not this one. Jinxed myself by ranting and raving about how excellently made these kits were back in the 80s. I actually had to shave off some of that peg. Sand it off to get this to seat properly. Now it's all the way down, and this is working as the Zoids gods intended. So let's just put the last few pieces on here, which is, first of all, this, which goes on here like so. Then we have the back of the armor, which actually I was supposed to put on first because this is 20 and the other one is 21. But anyway, this goes on. Whoa, please don't tell me you have another parts fit problem. This goes on here, and yeah, I'm trying to put it on upside down. That's the issue. Here we go. That goes here. Nice little exhaust vent at the back. And then the cannon we put together like so. Make sure this sits in a way that looks good. A flash hider at the front here. This goes on like this. And now we have a completed Sea Panther. I'll slide this back so I can open the cockpit, and you see now we put the pilot in because that's how it works. And put this back forward, and here we go. That's your Sea Panther all put together. You know what happens next, folks. I'm going to put on the stickers off camera, and then we're moving this guy to the photo booth so that we can do some comparisons with the Zoids graphics version and with some other Zoids that I feel like comparing it to. Back in a moment.
On second thought, let's take a closer look at that box first. I ran some of the text through Google Translate, and here's what I could find out. First of all, it translates what's at the top left there above the Zoids logo as Mecha Living Body, which I'm willing to bet is a mistranslation for something closer to Mecha Creature or something along those lines. Top right says Zoido, but you probably knew that. The line of text underneath the logo is another one that Google seems to have a problem with for some reason. As near as I can tell, it says that it's a kit that moves and that it has a motor included. Then on the front, above the Roman letters for the name, we've got some katakana that Google actually translates to Panzer or Panther as the proper German pronunciation goes. In other words, the German word for tank. I think I probably read this somewhere before and forgot about it again, but obviously that explains the weird name, right? Someone transliterated the word Panzer into katakana and then it got converted back to Romaji and someone got it wrong. Pretty funny and not all that uncommon in the Zoids world. There's tons of examples of this. Anyway, the pink box in the corner says something that Google translates as heavy armor, and that's pretty much all I've got. The back is mostly battle story as you'd expect, but I did also find out that the eyes of the crab head are actually meant to be searchlights and not a weapon, so that solves that mystery, I guess. Now let's see this thing in action. And here we go. Sorry for the janky footage, but it's a wind-up with wheels, so it moves pretty fast. I really love how all the limbs here move, and I was already thinking when I built the kit that the way they crammed the mechanism for this into such a small space with such simple means is just a fine example of 80s Zoids engineering. I'm sorry, but you've just gotta love this stuff. Now, comparisons. Here's the Zoids graphics version on the right, and it's not super obvious, but I think you can see the red on that one is darker. What's more interesting or strange to me though is the fact that the Zonibus logo on the cockpit is the same kind of foil sticker that all the first wave windups came with. The actual OJR Sea Panther has regular stickers printed on a clear sheet, as you saw in the unboxing. It's really weird to me that they would have changed this for the Zoids graphics version. I thought those were meant to be as close to the original as possible, but here we are. Here's a comparison to the OJR Wardick. Yes, Wardick. And as you can see, these two are actually an exact match in terms of collars. The Wardick does have foil stickers, but I actually bought this one built, so I can't be 100% sure those are the ones that it actually came with. Next, I've got the Tarantulon from the European release. I decided to use this one for the collar comparison because it's one of two faction switchers that actually have a red clamshell cockpit, the other one being the Terra Red. As you can see, the red on these earlier wave models was significantly darker. I mean, it's not even close. And finally, here's my Hellrunner, known by the Italian word for poop in the rest of the world. I just figured I'd do another comparison shot with the silver clamshell cockpit, but we've already established that the color schemes don't really match up. And that's about all we've got. I really think it's kind of a shame that the Sea Panther stayed as rare as it did, never making it into the European release or any of the other lines except for Zoids graphics. You might argue that the hermit crab head on the front looks a bit goofy, but I think overall this one's both very in line with the overall design aesthetic of those early Zonibus windups and unusual enough to stand out, and like I said earlier, it's also really well engineered and it's got that retracting armor plate gimmick with the beer can launcher underneath. I won't say it's an underrated classic given how expensive it already was back in the day, but these days it's kind of undeservedly obscure maybe. It's just not that well known and it's actually a really great Zoid. Well, and that's it for this one, folks. Since you'll have a hard time finding one of these if you like having both your kidneys, I hope you guys got a kick out of this review, and if you did, I always have more Zoids reviews coming on my channel, so you should probably subscribe or at least give this video a like so that, you know, the algorithm knows that you have superior taste. I've also got PayPal and Patreon links in the description below if you'd like to help me out with my Zoids budget, but just giving this video a like and sitting through the ads instead of skipping over them already helps me out. In the meantime, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.